Well, here I am at the start of the Centenary Trail. Couldn't be more of a perfect Canberra morning start for this. It's about as foggy as it can be. You can barely see Parliament in the background. So I'm going to start walking. Hopefully I'll get the first two sections done today, but at least I'll get the first one. So there's the old Parliament. Just across the road there you can see the Aboriginal Tent Embassy. Doesn't smell like there's any fires out today. I would have thought you'd want one given how bloody cold it is. There's not a soul inside. Very, very quiet. Excuse my sniff, but it is that cold. So that's officially the first K down as we go past the National Portrait Gallery, and up ahead through the fog is the High Court. This first bit of the track's a bit windy and weavy, and is really seems like it's more designed to catch all the public buildings and stuff that are along the lake. But I guess if you're going to design a tourist walk, that's probably the way to do it. So over there is Questacon, a National Science Museum / interactive kids playground, and down this little path here should find us at the lake. Actually, you can feel the wind coming up from the lake. It's significantly cooler than it was just up the top there. It's lucky that most of today is not spent down by the water. So actually, I think until we actually get right down on top of the water, I'm not going to be able to see anything at all. But that's the lake. Not too much wind today, which is nice. Well, there's the really gross lake. Still can't see much, but you've got the rollers out. You can just see across there, the other side. We'll be there in a few minutes. So we're just walking up this loop, which will take us on to Kings Avenue Bridge, take us across the other side of the lake. So we're down to just a little bit over 2 Ks now. Good pace. We're just walking over the bridge now. As you can see, the fog is thick and moist. That's the Carillion bell tower in front, and that's the police memorial. Looks maybe like the fog's lifting a bit, hard to tell. So we're just walking up the other side of the lake now. We're pretty much across the water now from where those flags were. So heading along here, and then we'll turn up Anzac Parade. So that's the Merchant Navy Memorial. I guess you have to put Navy Memorial on the lake, given that there's no other water in Canberra and we're inland. So this is Blundell's Cottage. It's one of the earliest residences in Canberra. It's here long before the lake was here. Apparently it's haunted. It's one of Canberra's most haunted buildings, supposedly. Beautiful building either way. And we're just walking up underneath this bridge now, and we're leaving the lake. So we're starting to make our way uphill. So that's the ASIO building. It's brand new-ish. All those panels on the front there keep cracking, which doesn't work very well, but that's what you get when you spend $750 million on a building. Up ahead is the first part of Campbell. So about 4k's in now. Pace is not too terrible, about 6k's an hour. So well ahead of the predicted rate. Just made it to Anzac Parade. We're down the lake end. So there's the Anzac memorials on either side. And this is where, sort of like the mall in Washington DC, it's basically all the memorials to each of the wars that Australia's been involved in is along this track here, and right at the end is the actual war memorial, which I'll show you when we get up to. I've never actually walked along here in any of the time that I've lived in Canberra. Certainly driven down it a lot, but it feels a lot longer when you're walking it, which is interesting. So we'll check out some of these memorials along the way and see what I've missed all these years. So we're probably about halfway up now, just past the Nurses Memorial. I think the fog's lifting a bit. I can sort of see a few things through it now, but just hope it lifts a little bit more before we get to the top of Mount Ainslie, otherwise we won't have much of a view. I think we're meant to cross over here. We'll head up the other side. So just through there is, I guess it's the site of Reed. It's one of our older suburbs. You can see some of the heritage buildings there. So we've just crossed over and we're just going to head up this side of Anzac Parade now and check out some of these memorials. Never actually noticed these beautiful gum trees, all the bark shedding off. Luckily, since we've left the lake, it's actually a lot less populated up here, and you got a bit of room to just walk and think. So this is the memorial to the army. This one, I think, has been here for a very long time. I can remember that as a kid. You can just start to see the actual war memorial building up ahead. So the war memorial sits at the base of Mount Ainslie, you can start to see that the gradient of the road's starting to actually turn up a bit, so we're going uphill. So that's the warm world up there, so you still can't really see it very well, but that's basically, this area down here is where you normally do the Anzac ceremony, and they tend to march up Anzac Parade. So we'll just walk up here a little bit and check it out. So I'm pretty sure that the War Memorial's actually closed today, but maybe it's just not open yet. But there we are. So if you draw a line right down Anzac Parade, you'd be able to see where we started off the day at Parliament House. So now we just have to walk around the outside of this building and we'll start on the first bush section. So this is the start of the Mount Ainslie section. So there's two options. You can go up and over the top of Mount Ainslie for walkers, or for riders you're able to actually go along. So there you go, you can see the Centenary Trail stickers, and then across here. So I used to walk this a lot when I was a kid, but I've never done it as part of a full day walk. So normally it takes about 20 minutes. It's about 1.8 k's. I'll see how we go. So we're completely out of the city now and making our way up Mount Ainslie. Hopefully we get to see some kangaroos or something else. Still on Mount Ainslie. As you can probably hear, I'm absolutely gassed. It's a lot easier starting fresh at the bottom. Probably about 1/3, halfway, something like that. See you at the top. About 2/3 of the way up. Fog is still thick, and that's what we got to contend with. That's the top. Down there, if you could see through the fog, you could see Parliament House, and out over that direction you could see Telecom Tower, Telstra Tower. But today you can see nothing. So this guy. Not too bad given I've already done 5 or 6 k's by the time I got to the bottom, but it's a big walk. Alright, we're heading back down the other side now, and that mountain over there is the next destination. So we're going to go down through the saddle and across. But as you can see, on top of Canberra right now, just fog beneath us. Pretty incredible day to be doing this. So this is the other side. There's actually more people on this trail than I thought. That's the road that goes up to the top. Well, coming down the north side, Mount Ainslie now. It's a trail I've never done before, I don't think. Yeah, back down into the fog. It was really spectacular coming up the top of Mount Ainslie, but I'm hoping that we'll get a similar view when we come up the other side of Mount Majura. Trail's actually really well marked. I do have the app, which is useful as well, but you probably get away without it if you had a general sort of sense of where you were going and could follow the signs. Alright, we're down and we're going to follow this fire trail along. There's the marker. So we're down the other side and we're on this pretty reasonable fire trail. Mount Ainsley's up that way somewhere through the fog, and Mount Majura is sort of there. So far so good. How are you doing? About 11 k's in now, which is the halfway mark. Unless we do 2 stages, in which case it's only a third. So we're running parallel to the houses there. I think that's the top of Ainsley. So we're actually making pretty good time. Fog still here, but at least it keeps the temperature down. Not that it's a hot day, but it's easier to not have to sweat out all your body weight. Well, feeling pretty good. Feet are starting to get a little sore, mainly because this gravel road has picked up a few little rocks and they're starting to wear. Tried to clear them out a couple of times, but seem to come back. But other than that, this would be alright. So just keep trotting along. So I'm guessing this is just a big water tower, but never seen it before in my life. So you can see the fog's starting to lift, which is probably going to make it a little bit warmer. But this section of the track, it's pretty easy to walk it. It's just it's actually a little bit boring. There's not a lot of variation between each of the areas, and you're basically just walking on the fire trail. So as soon as I said it was starting to get boring, the trail turns uphill. So be careful what you wish for. Well, fog's completely gone now. It's turned into an absolute stunner of a day. So I think I took a wrong turn and ended up on the bike route rather than the walking track, because as you can see, that's Mount Majura up there and I'm down here. But my legs were cramping up a little bit just before, so I think it's probably for the best that I don't go back up. I've had some electrolytes and I'm keeping on going. So this is actually where the 2 paths meet again. Little bunny. It's the first real animal I've actually seen up here, other than all the screeching birds. I'm actually surprised, there's normally kangaroos everywhere, but for some reason today, nothing. Heading back uphill. Not really. Just still heading around the base, Mount Majura. You can kind of hear the federal highway off in the background. So actually coming to the end of stage 1. Unfortunately, I paused my workout halfway through when I was stopping to take rocks out of my shoe. So I don't know how far I actually am, but once we hit the federal highway, that's 20 k's. So not too bad. Well, that's the federal highway. So this is stage 1 done. So that's 20 odd k's. Probably a bit sorer than I was hoping. Hip flexors and my feet are probably the worst, but I'm just gonna duck underneath here and have a quick bite to eat, change my socks, and then kick on for the second segment. Alright, stage 2. New socks, a bit of food in me. Feel like a new man. So we're just walking parallel to the federal highway, as you can hear. The track is not very wide, it's not very well kept. It's actually a little bit disappointing compared to the other bits that we've been walking on this morning, but yeah, it's another bit of Canberra I haven't walked, so off we go. So the landscape is completely different over here. All that bush and shrub, it's just turned away to grass. It's actually quite damp through here as well. Probably part of that's just the frost from last night, but a few private residences over there. Another bit of the highway, that's Horse Park Drive on my right there. And way off in the distance is where we're supposedly ending today. Right. Now we've got to go in here somehow. Alright. Never been here. They've got this bit fenced off to keep wild dogs and cats and foxes presumably away from the animals that are inside here. So hopefully you get to see a bit of the local wildlife. This part of the track is really poorly signposted. I'm really glad I took the app with me. Probably could have figured it out, but yeah, it's not super obvious where you're meant to be going. Well, back on was essentially another fire trail. This today lets me pick the pace up a little bit. You can see out in the distance there is Gungahlin. We're going just beyond that at the end of the day. It's actually a really, really pretty little part of the world. It's a bit busy though. Well, it's more of the same along here. Have not seen any animals other than birds. I'm gonna have to take a break in a few minutes. My feet are killing me. Just find a nice spot. So I think this is heading up against the ACT's northern border now. Well, northwest. So I just got to figure out where I'm going. But either way, that rock looks like that might be lunch. Nice little picnic rock. This Here's the Mulligan's flat bit of the trek. So we're getting there. It's this part of the section is apparently closed at night time. Not that I have any intention of being here at night time. Shut the gate. Little wallaby in there. So cute. Hey, skip, skip, skip. First animal. Well, legs are aching right now. I think I'm getting to the end of my rope, but I think there's only about 5 more k's to go, so not too terrible. Push through, and yeah, this area is quite pretty. Charming little house, woolshed, hard to tell. We're getting closer to civilization again, as you can tell by the people and civilization again. That's the end of the Mulligan's Flat Trail. Once we get on the other side of that gate, and then we're well and truly into Gungahlin, so not too long now. So that's the back of Ford. So we're about 6 k's away from the finish line. I think the rest of it is fairly suburban, not too much bushland, so that's a nice change of scene. Alright, this is the car park at the top of Bonner, and I think this is where I'm going to call it today. It's been plenty.